Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla, let's go over the market and figure out what we can expect moving forward for Tesla stock as per usual. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button as it does help a lot. I would appreciate it, by the way, as well. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. The link is down below if you're interested. For just $2.99 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, options flow, etc. every single day the market is open. So yeah, if you're interested for that, again, the link is down below. I essentially share the kind of information that I share on these videos. You get pretty much this plus more, but you get it live as the market is open every single day as it's trading. I'm constantly sharing my thoughts like that where I pretty much view necessary. So with that, all that being said and done, let's just get right into it. Tesla closing the day pretty much flat, up pretty much nothing, closing at pretty much the exact same price as we closed yesterday. But today's a big day, and the reason I say it's a big day is because, well, first of all, the market was up pretty decently, respectably, like 1.3% QQQ, 1% SPY. So Tesla definitely underperforming the market, but we have Apple's earnings coming out in about 20 minutes or so, which can dictate a few things as to whether or not the market decides to kind of chill around here, go lower, go higher. So it's Apple's a pretty big one, right? So we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, let's take a look at Tesla, and just aside from potentially the influence that Apple's earnings will potentially have on Tesla stock and the market really as a whole, let's figure out what we can infer from just the stock's movement and positioning today. So you can see, even though we did essentially close pretty much the same price we closed out yesterday, we still had some, decent movement today, right? We came all the way down to about this 176 level, right? I've been talking about this level for quite some time, right? I've been saying the mid-ish 170s for a long time, ever since we even closed this candle up here. You can go back to that video, right? This 194, everyone was bullish, and I kept saying, yeah, I don't know about that one, right? Things, it's pretty overextended. We ran like 40% in like pretty much a week. I don't know about being bullish here, probably a cool off is going to be something that's expected, and that's kind of what we're getting right now. We're getting a bit of a cool off here, right? And we came down to, again, the level I talked about, right? We had that 50-day moving average, which I will show right here, right? The green line right here, 50-day moving average, which we obviously came pretty much darn close to touching and testing and acting as now seemingly a support, which is good. On top of that, we have the fair value gap, which we arguably kind of, roughly filled right now. Usually these fill about halfway-ish, and we pretty much did that today. We went about halfway into the fair value gap, so that's a pretty good sign as well, and it's acting as a seeming support, which is also good to see. So ultimately, the stock and the technical analysis on Tesla here, in my opinion, now that we had this cool off, now that we went to this mid 170s, is looking pretty solid in terms of a risk versus reward type situation. Now, with that being said, though, I want to make it clear. It doesn't mean that, we're going to rocket from here. We can, but I don't think we will. What I personally think will happen is, at the very least, we chop. I think some chopping action is still in order. We still can go a little bit lower, too. Like, we didn't really come down to the 50-day moving average exactly yet, right? We were a couple of dollars off of it. Even just if we ever so slightly go slightly below that, right, and get close to filling this gap. Some people view this gap as being filled, even if we just come down to about this 172 level, right? I personally view it as being filled if we come down all the way to about 168, personally. But, I wouldn't be surprised if we do go a little bit lower, closer to like the lower part of 170s, briefly go below the 50-day moving average, come over to this volume profile, briefly touch that, and then I think from there we get a nice strong bounce. That is something I'm still kind of considering. And the reason I'm still considering that is because, well, you usually get to these volume profiles like this, right? It's like a point of control, right? They usually act as magnets, right? We went back above it, but we never came back into it. So coming back into that area is still, in my opinion, a very real possibility. The stochastic on the daily is starting to kind of curl to the downside. You can see it's starting to potentially flip bearish here. The momentum is slowly drawing out even further. So that's why it's hard for me to look at this and think that we're just going to straight rocket from here. Like, I don't think we're going to just completely go like this, right? I could be wrong. Obviously, no one knows for sure. But my current projection is, we chop. I still think a chopping is in order, a chopping session, like between the low-ish 170s to even like the mid, we'll say 180s. I really think that there's still some chopping to be done there as we overall still kind of accumulate, still kind of like what we did over here. This area right here, we kind of chopped around this general area. Like, I expect something like this. I don't think we'll go like this low though, right? I don't think we'll go that low, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we kind of in this general area right here chop around for the next potentially even week or two, honestly. Like, it wouldn't fully shock me, right? And the main reason is also because actually, if I bring out Transpider, let's take a look at Transpider here quickly. Transpider is really good when it comes to seasonality. So let's go ahead and take a look at that really quickly here. If I go to Tesla here, which is beautiful right here. Seasonality for Tesla, let's go ahead and change this to a few years back. Let's say around here. Let's do this one here, right? 10 years. So you can see May, right? Obviously the month we literally just started, seasonality wise is one of Tesla's worst months, right? It's not one of the best months at all. It's one of the worst months. So that's why I personally don't expect Tesla to do too much in May. I expect just kind of sideways action, if not maybe a slow bleed down to low-ish 170s. But I'm not expecting too much out of May. And I'm pretty sure the market as a whole is, there's that saying, it's like sell in May and go away. I'm not expecting too much in May. June, however, is Tesla's best month. June is where I expect things to start picking up once again. And that's where I expect Tesla to eventually really find its pathing, really kind of use the majority of May to kind of chop, kill premium, things like that. But then use that time and use that moment to kind of like rebuild that momentum, rebuild the fresh set of buyers. We're kind of, the sellers are now exiting. That's fine. That's what they've been doing for the past few days, clearly, but kind of reinvigorate the new, fresh buyers. And then it's kind of, get that momentum going, get that kind of sideways-ish correction going, and then ultimately set up potentially like a bull flaggy looking situation. And then I think from, closer to June or like into June or something like that is where I think we get the next explosive move to the upside. That's kind of my current projection. Obviously, that's just a prediction, right? We never know how those can go, but that's roughly what I expect right now. And I personally think sometime in June, around June, I don't know when in June, but sometime in June would not surprise me if we come up to the top of this red line to retest this on the weekly time frame, which will bring us somewhere to, we'll say, 220s, 230s, right? That's kind of my current projection. Whether or not it'll actually happen, well, absolutely nobody knows, but that's, if I had to take a guess, that would be the guess there. But in terms of the way we're looking at right now, this is why I kind of, on the weekly time frame, put this little horizontal line, if you will, here, right? This area is clearly an area of support and demand, right? It's acted like that before. It's acted as a resistance before, and now naturally it's acting as a support. So it's a pretty crucial area to, pay attention to, right? On the bands regression, you can see we are getting rejected by that white line in the center right here, the 20-day moving average, essentially. Right. So, we are getting rejected at a pretty crucial spot here on the weekly, but, this is also a spot where it's fine because we're getting closer to just kind of like chilling out. The stock is chilling out. The stock is just massive run. It's calming down now. It's slowing down, and that's perfectly normal. That's perfectly healthy. And I think we're going to slowly get ready for the next move up on the weekly time frame. But I do think it might take, again, a couple of weeks or so to really, truly just let the stock calm down. Let the stock relax. Just everything is, sort of chills out a bit. And then we move up even higher. That's my current projection, right? Keep in mind, also the weekly MACD, very close to flipping bullish. Not just yet, right? It's going to need a little bit of an extra push here, but it's pretty darn close. A flip on this on the bullish side would be obviously quite bullish. So that's another aspect if you look, you can wait for if you're like someone that's very conservative or very safe. A flip on the MACD on the weekly time frame from bearish to bullish is a pretty good sign. So, definitely something to pay attention to. The RSI and the weekly is not looking too shabby as well. A stochastic on the weekly time frame looking pretty respectable. So in my opinion, I think Tesla's still looking good. I really do. I think the overall trend, the overall direction for Tesla is still looking solid. I really, really do. It's just I personally, for now, expect some chop, and we'll see what Apple's earnings dictates for us and how the market reacts to it. I have no idea how it's going to go. I'm not too hopeful. I mean, Apple has been selling off pretty aggressively. To be fair, it's it's been on a bit of a pain train, at least for Apple. But it is Q1 earnings, and China's economy, and if we know anything from like EVs in general, like China's economy has been very not amazing, right? So I know Apple's a fair portion of their sales do come from China, so I'm not sure how it's going to go. I'm not too hopeful here personally on the earnings for Apple. I'd guess down, but man, I have no idea. But if Apple's earnings does tank for whatever reason, that may be even further reason why we just chop in this area for a bit longer, potentially move up down a little bit lower, potentially go to the low-ish 170s, but ultimately 170 to like maybe as high as 190. I expect that $20 chop range, right? For the next, potentially most of May. That's kind of my current projection. Obviously, if things change, I'll keep you all updated, especially my members in the members section. So if you're interested, the link is below for just $2.99 a month. Options flow all over the place for a cheddar flow. A couple, short-term puts that came in, but they're weekly. They most likely took profit on that from the morning. So that's, obviously gone. All in all, nothing too crazy on the options flow that I've noticed, right? Nothing really to write home about. Tesla's nowhere to be found on the bearish or bullish flow. Nothing, nothing really to write home about for Tesla, which makes sense considering we pretty much didn't go anywhere today whatsoever. But overall, that's my kind of picture moving forward for Tesla. Below us, of course, we have that 50-day moving average sitting at pretty much 175, we'll just say roughly. And we have that 100-day moving average sitting at almost $200 per share. And that's kind of the main thing to look at for now as we potentially chop within this $20-ish range, which is what I expect moving forward, at least for now. So anyways, all that being said and done, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. And as usual, I'll see you tomorrow for the Friday weekly recap, I guess. Anyways, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.